Hello, everyone, and welcome. I'm Didier Recloux, and today I'm delighted to talk with someone whose vision and creativity I greatly admire, a filmmaker who is using art and storytelling to bring faith to life on screen. My guest is Austin Kelly, founder of ChristianChannel.com and the director of the independent Catholic TV series Knights of the Cross. It's an ambitious project, part history, part faith journey, and it's been made possible through incredible community support and a clear sense of purpose. Austin, it's wonderful to have you here.
Thank you, Didier. Appreciate being on the show.
So, Austin, you and I first connected when you were looking for a composer. So, we were both in that same small creative sphere of people who believe that music and film can serve something greater than ourselves. For those who don't know your story, how did it all begin? And what first led you to create ChristianChannel.com? And how did it evolve into directing Night of the Cross?
Oh, wow. Two very, very big questions. First of all, I have no experience in the film world, no experience in the music world. So all of this was new to me. So 5 years ago, well, I spent my whole career in marketing, working with celebrities, building brands. So if you guys ever go to Walmart or Target here in the United States and see those smiling celebrities, I'm probably the guy working on those projects, and they take years to make. But what happened was here in Los Angeles, where I grew up, I started noticing a lot of riots and a lot of Catholic churches being destroyed. Now, at the time, my Catholic faith, I was sinning 7 days a week and still going to Catholic church on Sunday, thinking I didn't know my faith at all. But when this had happened, I really knew that when what happened was a church near my house at the San Gabriel Mission was caught on fire by a madman who just didn't like the Catholic Church. And out of those ashes of the church being, destroyed, I said, God, how can I use my talents for you? Which was in marketing. So with no, I just knew that media, music, and movies could really touch the hearts of millions of people. And I'm here to report, Dieter, that 5 years later, we have over 20 million views. We have nearly 100 documentaries, and right now, that have reached millions of people all throughout their homes and their smartphones, on our YouTube channel and on Roku. But yeah, the Christian channel started because basically I knew that media, like what we're on right now on YouTube, could touch and pierce the hearts to point people not to me, like, but to Christ. And
Of
so,
course.
and that's what I like about your channel is like you could, media and music, it's beautiful, and ultimately our creator God, the designer of this world and designer of us, he made us uniquely different. So I think pointing people back to God is where I want the world to be. Right now, our world is a little bit in chaos, right? Getting mad at Catholic churches, getting mad at the government, getting mad. We're not building up. So that's where you and I started communicating, because you and I both share that I know you're a very talented artist, and I only work with, the reason why our show looks so good, the new original TV series, Knights of the Cross, looks so good, is because I work with talented people like yourself that want to bring beauty back on cinema, bring beauty back in the music, and how do we point this beauty ultimately back to Christ? So the good news is, Knights of the Cross is nearly finished. Took 5 years in the making. It's a very cinematic TV series. It's not your typical drama that you see in, that's really cheap to make. I mean, this show is all out about the Crusades. And my background in marketing, I knew that I couldn't do it alone. One, I'm not Brad Pitt. I'm not Leonardo DiCaprio. I'm not a celebrity. So what I ended up doing was that could help me crowdfund these projects and then make them come to life. And so I was really blessed to work with J. Stephen Roberts, who has the largest YouTube channel called Real Crusades History, and one
Mhm.
of the largest. And we ended up crowdfunding all the way up to where we are today. So the crowdfund, so far we're on our second crowdfund, which is currently on donorbox.org/knights. And that crowdfund is currently up and running until October 31st. And the release of our new cinematic TV series is on December 28th of 2025. So this year, we really depend on the fans. This is an independent project. And the cool thing about our crowdfund is if you crowdfund for more than $149, you get your name on the ending credits. So the goal of the show is to remind people why us as Christians went on crusade and how do we respond to a world that's filled with death, chaos, and destruction. And I think the Crusades, I mean, it couldn't be more timely, right? What's going on in the world today? I think this film has a way of piercing the hearts of people to show the history of our Christian faith. And it wasn't just on offensive. You know, we went on crusade at a defense. And I think we need to re-educate and re-inform our audience what the Crusades were about. And that's why I'm really excited to be on your show. The point that the Crusades had a lot of saintly people, and we featured the saints and we featured the beauty of the Catholic faith into the cinematic film.
That's wonderful. And it seems also, as you said, that now, we need a lot of beauty as everything seems to be about destruction. So yeah, it's a fantastic project. So what I love about Knights of the Cross is that it's not only a story about history, but it's also about faith and the moral struggle within every person. It explores good and evil, courage and sacrifice, and those themes are timeless. What does this series represent to you personally? And what do you hope audiences will feel when they watch it?
Wow. Well, personally, the series has been a lot of sacrifice, right? I don't have to be making films about the Crusades, but I feel called that right now we need men and we need young women to look at the lives of the saints and look at the lives of the kings and of during the Crusades because you know there's one thing where we could talk about apologetics and talk about history, but I'm a person that I need to see the lives of the saints. I need to see the lives of these crusaders and how they live virtuously. I'm a visual person, and I feel that this show is going to show our audiences how to live like a crusader authentically, how to live like a saint. And I bring up the saints because we did feature Saint Simon Stock in episode 2, which I directed, and then we added a bonus scene of the apparition of Our Lady of Mount Carmel. The whole point of the series is to remind Christians and to remind Catholics that we are a faith that puts all our trust into Jesus Christ. And I think the backdrop and the storyline of a battle, like the Battle of Jaffa that we film, it's not only cinematic, it's not only fun, and it's not only, entertaining, but it also reminds us that, you know, don't despair, but to have faith. And the only way we could have faith is the looking at Christ on the cross and saying, this life that we're on is a temporary ship. We want to spend eternity in heaven. We want to spend eternity with God. And we shouldn't wish death and evil on other people because they don't believe in our faith. But we should look at to Christ and say, how do I pray for this person? How do I sacrifice? How do I fast and live the Christian way? I believe, even Gandhi had said, I would become Christian if other Christians acted like Christians. You know, he
Yeah,
he he knew it. He knew it, and I
of
think
course.
this show is a good reminder of how to live virtuously and to live and imitate Christ. That's the whole point of the show.
Definitely, definitely. I mean, the series looks truly cinematic. I mean, the costume, the lights, the tone, but it also carries a sense of reverence. So you've managed to make something that feels like a film, but at the same time, I would say that it has the soul of a prayer. How did you find that balance between creating something visually striking and something deeply spiritual?
Advice, because I need help all
Good
the time.
advice. Yeah.
I need good advice. Yeah. The only reason why this show looks so good is because we had very talented people helping us. One, we had an individual, not an individual, we had a Catholic Latin Mass priest help us as a consultant, and then J. Stephen Roberts, who's the historian side of things. So we had the Latin mass priest, and then we had the historian, and we blended them together with our cinematic team, our production team, and that's what really helped us find the balance between history and faith. And I have been getting a lot of pushback from the historians, like, "Hey, why is there too much faith in this Crusader film?" And it's because they live the faith. You can't ignore and deny the fact that these, not all these crusaders, all of them, some of them were pretty bad too. They were egotistical, they were prideful. I'm going to go in and I'm going to steal things. But that's one side of it. But there's also the virtuous side of them too. And I wanted to highlight that we're all human beings, but there are saints that we could look to and say how they live virtuously. So to answer the question, long story short, I'm imperfect, but I look for the advice of people that are the best in their field, one a historian and one a Latin mass priest, who I find to be very virtuous. This Latin mass priest, his name is Father Gray, and he was actually he's been in the Vatican many times. I think he assisted with Pope Francis
Mhm.
and then he also was with previously Pope Benedict. So I know Father Gray very personally. He's in Park City, Utah, where the Sundance Film Fest is held. He's a cinephile, like he loves cinema. So
Sorry.
it wasn't hard for me to bend his arm, like, "Hey, can you help me with this film?" Like, the guy lives and breathes cinema noir. He's a film buff himself. So we got really lucky that he liked film. I think if he wasn't a big film buff, film nerd, I think we would be toast. I think the show wouldn't come out as good as it should. I mean, it's
So that's wonderful that he was able to help on this.
Yeah, we got lucky.
So I believe the entire project has been built through crowdfunding, a genuine community effort. So I think people have donated, they've prayed, and they even had their names added to the film's ends credit. I think through donorbox.org/nights. How did this project come to be, and what has that support meant to you personally? How has it shaped your mission?
Yeah, it really became a community. Every single crowdfund individual really we kind of embrace each other like brothers. Like a lot of folks from the United States, we gave perks where they could come on the movie set and join us. And we were inspired by successful crowdfunds like The Chosen, who raised $10 million. And like
Of course.
and I was like, how can we implement that cool idea of getting the fans involved in the film? And we did. I mean, they drove. I mean, here in the States, we've had fans all drive all the way from like New York and New Hampshire all the way across country to Utah, where we were filming in 2021 during the pandemic, and they were just so excited to be on a real movie set and being, the spoiler alert, if you guys anyone's on a movie set, it's long. These are 14-hour days. So I think they kind of regretted it midday, but they had great lunch and they got to meet in cast and crew. But these are long days. They're not fun. And so I think they walked away with, wow, how much they appreciate, the movie making businesses, but also they got to be a part of something I think is going to be historical. And I really hope, like I say, millions of people watch this show. The goal of the show is we're crowdfunding it right now. They could still crowdfund and get their name featured on the ending credits. And the goal is, millions of people watch it. I mean, we're not charging. We want to distribute this for free everywhere. Episode one's for free on YouTube, and that has 54,000 views. So I know there's a demand for it. There's a need for it, but I think the major streaming platforms who are also very excited to stream our content, they're looking forward to having it on their platform as well. But that won't happen until 26. So the release will be christianchannel.com in December 28th of 2025. And then in 26, we'll start opening up the doors to the major streamers. So you're being a part of history. I mean, we're living history, and maybe 100 years from now, they said, "Hey, these knuckleheads, 100 years ago, crowdfunded this really cool Catholic Christian film."
Well, I can't wait to see the final product. Um, I know that for an independent filmmaker, that the road can be quite rough and it's rarely easy. especially when you're telling stories rooted in the faith. What has been the most rewarding moment for you so far? The moment that reminded you why you started the journey in the first place?
I love this question because um, we you would think Knights of the Cross. I haven't heard much feedback from Knights of the Cross. I've heard, but I want to talk about the documentaries we've made on Christian Channel, and those have blown up on YouTube. Like we have a series that called Stories of the Saints, and some videos have 250,000 views, some 100,000 views, and the one comment that really struck out to me was a gentleman who was going through RCIA and saying, I made St. Francis my patron saint, and I want to thank you for helping me educating me more about the saints. And then also another comment from a priest that I've never met before, who I ended up meeting in real life, who's a Latin Mass priest, and he advised me. He said, continue making more stories about the saints because they're touching so many people. And I think just money aside, like those comments where we could be an instrument to help educate people about the saints, that's what really inspires me. Anything to do with Christian history or the lives of the saints, like I said, I always reflect back because I know I could have done better. I could have spent a little more time to refining the craft, but I'm just really shocked and surprised to see hundreds of literally millions of people watching our documentaries and just saying thank you. And that thank you really, I just want people to love Christ. And I think the only way we could love Christ is if we look at the virtues of the saints and how to imitate them, because they ultimately imitated Christ. And I just
Right.
want people to love God. And that's what pierces my heart, is just those comments of the genuine honesty saying thank you.
Yeah, and that's always very encouraging when you feel that your project is being supported. So it's a very nice feeling. So you often speak about storytelling as a kind of evangelization, the idea that beauty and art can reach hearts where words alone might not. Do you see Knights of the Cross as part of that mission to evangelize through cinema?
I certainly believe so, right? When Mel Gibson made Passion of the Christ, there are some celebrities like Kevin James who said that movie brought me back to my faith. You know, I can't do this all by myself. I'm a big believer in supporting other people's work like yourself. And that's why we have our Christian Channel podcast, because I know the level of effort it takes to make great, beautiful art. And as long as that art points people to Christ, I'm going to support them 100% of the way.
Mm,
But with Knights of the Cross, yeah, I hope it inspires a new generation of Christians and Catholics to kind of steal our model of crowdfunding and doing it themselves. I want more Christian film out there. I want more Catholic films out there. We need great cinema. And, we can't we can't just be waiting on the sidelines saying, I'm waiting for that big paycheck from, this big producer. Sometimes you just gotta like roll up your sleeves and do it. I'll tell you right now, I meet movie studio executives. I meet very, very influential producers here in Los Angeles. And to tell you the truth, no one's ever going to make your dream project. Sometimes you just got to do it yourself. Unfortunately, that's the truth. And maybe you could, wrangle up a couple thousand people to donate $1,000 for your multi-million dollar film or $1 million film. That's a great way to do it. It just takes everyone listening right now, it just takes one of you and multiplying that by 1,000 and having everyone contribute $1,000 for one mission. It sounds like a big deal, but it's really not. I mean, there's
mhm,
1.3 billion Catholics out there. Like I I want everyone to get into the arts and raise awareness of how we can bring truth and beauty to the world, not be in the world and not be of the world, but be in the world, right? So we want to be in the world and displaying our art, but we don't want to be of the world and the degeneracy that's going on today. It's a battle, Dieter. It's a complete battle, and I've seen the what's behind the curtain, and it's not pretty. Mel Gibson kind of said it like in the late 90s, like it's disgusting. And
mhm.
and now we're seeing it today in media, right? We're seeing shows that contradict our faith, that make fun of our faith, and you can't even turn on the TV without seeing somebody spit on Jesus. So it's a battle, and I think everyone should wake up to that.
Yes, definitely. And I think at the moment there is sort of a people are being attracted again towards faith. I think, as you said, because there's so much things happening that is so negative that people feel like they need something a bit more that gives them a bit more grounding. And yes, going back to faith, I think it's a really an amazing thing. Now, I love the title Knights of the Cross. It's powerful and it's symbolic. But when people hear it, they might think of battles or history. But I sense that you mean something more as a spiritual calling. Would you say that in a way that every Christian today is called to be a knight of the cross?
Yeah, it's funny. I think we need to be in the militia of the Immaculata. We need to be in the army of Mary, right? We need to be knights because I didn't know that starting the show. I honestly, the truth be told, it just sounded like a really cool title, but and like it ended up growing. And what that title means to me now, because there wasn't really a meaning behind it. My background's in marketing, right? I work with, like I said, I work with celebrities and I name their products. A lot of people don't know that, but I'm the guy that names, hey, XYZ, like Leonardo DiCaprio's Savage fragrance. Like I'm the guy usually who names those products. So at
Mhm.
first it was just a cool name, but then it ended up resonating and saying, oh, shoot, this whole movie project, this film project has been a cross in my life. It truly has. It's been, and everybody knows it behind the scenes. This show literally hundreds of people have been a part of it. I want to say just under 100 people were behind the scenes in the movie studio or in out in the wild. Like we filmed in the beaches. There were real battle scenes. There were real, chainmail and armor and fighting and horses. So it has been a cross. There have been moments where it's like, wow, someone's going to die today on set. Just it was so dangerous. But by the graces of God, everyone survived, and I'm really it's like I said, it's been a 5 year sacrifice. Took 5 years to make, and I'm just so thrilled and grateful that we've made it this far. And God willing, when the show is released, I get more of those. Thank you for making this series. So the whole point about Knights of the Cross is life isn't easy. It's hard. It's filled with sacrifice and suffering. So, but how do we suffer joyfully and do we sit idle? The whole point of the show is like, no, we do not sit idle. We have to take action. And
Mhm.
it goes back to what I'm encouraging people. I hope this movie this film encourages and builds a renaissance within Catholic and Christian media for people to be bolder and say, hey, I need help crowdfunding my new movie, or I need help crowdfunding my new musical project. I only need like about 100 to 1,000 people to support this. And God will it, God's will be done. So that's what I care about. I hope this just inspires a new generation of filmmakers and artists to go out in the world and to show God's beauty.
Now, for anyone who wants to support this project or discover more of your work, what's the best way for them to get involved? And
Yeah,
where can people go to watch and donate or follow the progress of Knights of the Cross?
awesome. Great question. Very quick and simple. You could go to christianchannel.com and click on crowdfund, or you could go to donorbox.org/nights and you could crowdfund there. The good news is we raised $37,000 so far. Our goal is $50,000 by October 31st. I think we're going to get there, but after this, it is done. The names on the ending credits are going to be locked. The editors are going to, the reason why we're raising funds is to help with visual effects. Everything looks fantastic already, but we just want to make it so epic, like kind of like a gladiator film. So we just need a little bit of help from everyone out there to contribute. And yeah, we're really thrilled to release the film on December 28th of this year.
Well, I really hope you hit your target by the end of the month. It'd be wonderful. So, Austin, thank you very much for sharing your heart and your mission with us today. I mean, what you're doing, combining faith, art, and courage, is something the world deeply needs. So, to everyone watching, you can learn more and support Knights of the Cross by visiting donorbox.org/knights. and explore more inspiring faith-based content at christianchannel.com. Austin, congratulations again, and thank you for reminding us that beauty and faith are meant to work together.
Amen. God bless everyone. Thank you for having me on.
Thank you all for watching. Take care, and I'll see you soon. Bye.